today, buddy?
Park ranger time.
Park ranger time. What do you mean park ranger time? What are we doing with the park rangers?
We're gonna learn about the nature.
We're gonna learn about nature today. We signed up for a nature hike in one of the parks we frequent. We've walked the trail before. We're gonna walk down to a beautiful little waterfall, little creek through the woods, guided by the park rangers so they can tell us about the trees and the plants, and we can ask some questions and learn some things, huh? My plan for this, I'm gonna strap you guys to the backpack and just let it run. And then I'll edit it later, and it's gonna be maybe a little longer video, but hopefully a relaxing one. So enjoy the woods, guys.
Enjoy.
Show me what you got, buddy. Oh, is there any nuts connected, or is it just the hats, the top part? That just looks like the top part of the acorn, huh?
But not one of them. Not one of them.
That one's got a really tiny little acorn stuff to it, huh? We made it to the park, didn't we? We're here.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Waiting for registration to finish up. Park rangers. And then we're gonna head down this trail right over here. Go learn a little bit about Mother Nature, Tanner, huh? And the trees. And Bigfoot. What do you think about that? Is that cool, dude? Yeah, keep yourself busy. I love it.
Our South Region Park Rangers, so we are in this park. Anyone know the 4 other South Region parks? South Park?
North Park.
North Park's in the North Region.
South. Boyce.
Boyce? Had 2 more. One has animals at it. If anybody
Farm animals.
Yeah, not Round Hill. Round Hill? And the last one that's the farthest away. Anybody been to White Oak before? Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So that's our region, the South Region. So a couple of things before we get started. We are all first aid and CPR certified, so if you need anything from a Band-Aid to something more serious, please feel free to ask us. We're here to help you. If you are a person that uses any sort of rescue medication and you would like to let one of us know, feel free to privately if you want. We're here to help you in any of those instances. We're going to be out for about 2 hours. We're going to go down to the waterfall, do a little bit of a loop, and come back. So it's about, I'm going to say 1.5 miles, 2 miles. I'm gonna go with 1.5 miles. It's a little steep. We do have some trekking poles if anybody would like those. And we also have binoculars. We are gonna be talking about trees, stopping and looking over the valley a little bit. So if you want a closer look at some of the trees we're talking about, we have those for you to use. The tread on the trail is pretty smooth, so we shouldn't have any problems. Ranger Max is going to be leading us, so we just ask that you stay behind him. I'll be in the back as the caboose. So we just ask you stay on the trails, stay behind Ranger Max. We don't really have to worry about ticks and poison ivy, but they're still out there. If you happen to see any poison ivy, it right now looks like just like hairy vines. Still don't touch that, it's got the oils on it. But if you happen to touch it, just go home and scrub with some soap and cold water. And I always like to check for ticks when I get home, and those look like little freckles with legs. So I want to be thorough still in the winter time while it's chilly outside. Anything I missed? Oh, porta potties are right here if you need them. We're unsure about the water situation. Not sure if any of our water fountains are on right now, but there is a brick and mortar bathroom over there as well if you don't want to use the porta john. Anything I missed?
I would say this, this trail is relatively accessible. It's wide, it's graded pretty easily if you haven't been on this. That being said, go at your own pace. We'll stop and wait for the group. We have about 4 stops along the way. Nice, easy pace. You don't feel like you have to hurry to keep up. And if you're like, hey, we have to go or we have to leave early, just let one of us know. It's straight back up the trail, but we'd also be happy to help accompany you. We have a Trails app. There's information in the kiosk there. Great smartphone-based GPS-enabled mapping for all of our 9 parks. So if you're too cold or not having fun or forgot you need to be somewhere, don't worry about it. Just let us know and we're happy to have you.
Anyone interested in a trekking pole or a pair of binoculars?
No binoculars?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
good.
I'll come around with a bag of binoculars.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Go and grab yourself a pair. Make sure you say thank you.
You're welcome. You got two. Whoops.
Oh, you only need one, buddy.
They were connected. Let's see if we can figure
There you
that out.
go.
There we go.
Perfect.
Binoculars?
I'm gonna need my gas.
Okay.
I might,
I already asked her, but do you guys care if I record?
No, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
I might need my gas.
Well, yeah, whenever you stop, you can just pull them up or pull them down. Okay? Like that, yeah. There you go, perfect. That work well? Uh-huh, yeah. The super zoom? Here, unbuckle this. Oh, if you need to move your hat, you can. It'll be good to go. Here, let me see.
You are. Oh, excellent.
Unacceptable.
Can I take my glasses off? I really want my glasses.
Are you gonna be able to see well without your glasses?
I guess.
You guess? All right, I'll take them off real fast. So just leave your binoculars down. You got them backwards. Now, trust me, that's gonna make them look further away. This makes things look closer. So good. And we're off. All right, so don't do that all the time, okay? So just leave them hanging until we stop and they point some things out. We'll point some stuff out for you to look at.
So as we walk along this trail, it's a beautiful day for a hike, but I just want to focus everybody's attention particularly on the trees around us and to start to look and notice similarities, differences, colors, textures, patterns. You know, just start to focus your attention a little bit more on these kind of bare trees that are around us, because that's going to be the focus and the topic of our hike today. If you have any questions or you see anything cool while we're along the way, don't hesitate to put your hand up or shout out and say, hey, we have a question back here. We love kind of that engagement from everybody.
All right, come on, put this down. Do you want to hear? Let's let everybody pass. Come here. I know how you like to walk, so we'll be good in the back. We'll help bring up the rear. All right, okay. You're a slow goer. So we'll stay back here a little bit.
So you're saying your favorite dinosaur is T-Rex. Do you know Ankylosaurus at all?
Do you?
About those.
That's the tank one.
Yeah.
When we read our books, that's
Got the
one.
club tail. That's
Yeah.
my favorite. They're pretty cool.
I'm a Stegosaurus guy myself.
Yeah, I don't blame you. They're all.
I like Stegosaurus too.
Yeah, they're kind of in the same, I feel like,
I like Mosasaurus.
range of
Which one's that?
the Mosasaurus.
I don't think I know that one.
That's the giant, I don't know, alligator-ish kind of one.
Oh.
That came out of the water in the,
Ichthyosaurus.
yeah, it came out of the water in Jurassic World.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
I think it's pretty crazy to think that those creatures
Oh,
were on the
That,
same
this is
ground
my
you are.
favorite part.
I agree. I could be okay with those. It's I think the fact that there was like giant insects back
I'm a
then.
big bug guy, so it'd make it easier for me to photograph them.
But this is like my favorite part because the Mosasaurus jumped out and killed the Mosasaurus.
Yeah, it's true.
It killed the Mosasaurus and
It did indeed, didn't it?
like eaten the whole thing in one bite.
The whole thing got eaten, huh?
I haven't seen the latest Jurassic World. Is the Liopleurodon in any of them?
I don't think so.
That one's another like aquatic, like massive fish.
Yeah.
Like long snout.
Yeah, they don't do much with the water, which always disappoints me. I feel like that'd be the most like kind of wild aspect of.
Oh,
I think technically
Remember
dinosaurs
what?
have to be terrestrial.
remember the bubble?
That makes sense.
Park book
Yeah.
and the Mosasaurus?
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite picture.
Mosasaurus, yeah, but you did a nice job saying it.
No, it's actually a Mosasaurus. It's not a Mosasaurus.
Oh, it's a different one?
Yeah. You know, like 4 paddles and the big neck in the water?
Oh, yeah, yeah. The one that kind of looks like the Loch Ness Monster?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
The Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, the plesiosaur?
I think so, yeah. The one that everybody always says is still in Loch Ness.
I don't know if I buy that, but it'd be pretty cool.
I agree. I'm all for those kind of things.
But when we walk on trails, we hunt for Bigfoot.
Yeah, we do, huh?
Yes, we do.
If you're not looking for Bigfoot in the woods, what are you looking for?
Oh god, this is going up.
He's clearing the trail. Okay, keep going.
What's this? What's up there?
Remember, we'll stop and look what they tell us to point out some things. Oh. You starting to look at some trees like you said? Starting to notice some patterns? Like, look, that one's really smooth, right?
Yeah.
But then this one's a lot more rough and thick, right?
See anything good?
Did you?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something hallucinating there. Actually, this is
So remember, if you want to ask questions about anything, they're the people to ask. They'll have all your answers about types of trees and plants. Don't be afraid to ask questions, okay? I mean, you always ask me a million questions while we're out here.
what happened to that tree?
Which one?
It had like bird dogs. Or is it just dots?
Maybe just dots right here. Talking about those little black spots? I don't know. Those are questions you ask the people in green pants.
What was the question?
Those black spots. How come the trees have the black spots up along it?
So if they're truly black, it might be a type of sooty mold.
Okay.
It might just be dark green, in which case it could be a type of lichen as well.
Okay.
Can't tell in the shadow.
Yeah.
You can see we're on the waterfall trail, as the signs up ahead said, and the waterfall trail is a part of the green colored green blaze loop or lollipop trail in Settlers Cabin Park. All of our trails in the Allegheny County parks, we're going to just simple color blazes and this kind of symbology. So you can see we have paint blazes on the trees. We're crossing both the blue trail and the red trail, which are concurrent here. And we're staying on the green trail. So if you want to come back to Settlers Cabin Park, check out that Trails app and maybe consider doing the entire green loop. It's a pretty nice, roughly, 2.4 mile experience. So it's one of our favorite trails. Just wanted to point out the symbols and make sure everybody understood what this cool thing meant. Adventure on the waterfall trail.
Yeah,
there's a couple of wetlands over there. There's some water seeping out.
Yeah. Look at that one.
Look at this.
Well, yeah. What do you think happened to that one? Bigfoot knock over?
I don't know. Like, something must have big must have been skin.
Must have.
I don't know who show that to me.
I don't know. How often do you guys do maintenance on the trails?
Depends on the trail. So we, as rangers, as we're hiking and things,
Yeah.
we like to do it as much as possible.
Mhm.
We also have volunteer days to do trail work and maintenance. that we're, I think this year, going to do once a month, the last Saturday of every month.
Okay.
We also have a trail crew during the summertime that does a lot of mostly trail building or like really big projects. I don't know if we'll go over it today, but we helped put in a bridge over the creek down here on the Green Trail. That was a big project that we took care of, but
nice.
yeah, as much as we can, like we like to maintain the corridor so like things aren't smacking people in the face.
No, yeah.
We've got a lot of people who ride horses in our trails, so in our parks.
Take your time, buddy.
So we like to make sure that, you know, they have an accessible way on our trails. But
Good job, bud.
Trail Pittsburgh does a lot of trail maintenance too. I think they're a nonprofit, but they helped build a trail recently in South Park. They're mostly all like mountain bike riders, so
Yeah, I know.
they're very into like building trails.
Yeah,
for
I've
the
heard a lot of
mountain
people. Yeah,
bike riders.
exactly. That's getting really popular around here now, which is good. So we walk these trails a lot, and they're always very open, which is nice. Easy to walk, like you said.
Yeah, it's nice having these like really nice, well-maintained. Like this doesn't need as much maintenance on the tread because it was built by a machine.
Okay.
So it got packed down like
Really nice.
really well, you know, and consistent. So
What could do a hole that big?
I don't know.
do you see this hole in this down log right
That's
here?
what he's asking, yeah.
So that was probably a woodpecker hole when it was alive, when the tree was alive. And then when the tree fell, it looks like it's repurposed into something else. Maybe see some moss growing in there. So maybe there are other critters that live in there. Some bugs probably.
Yeah.
Probably some spiders.
Yeah, probably some spiders for sure.
Maybe even a snake climbed in there, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
That's why we don't shove our hands in things, huh, bud?
Yeah, that would not be fun.
Yeah. Come on, buddy. Let's
That
roll.
tree in that big hole right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big
That
in
was-
that hole right
It was one of the tough things to teach him as we got started. Can't just
there.
go grabbing everything
Yeah, curiosity is great until
until you shove your hand in the wrong log.
We're right behind.
We're way behind, yeah. That's all right. Do you remember this trail from the summer?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
see more
Could be
things
living
now.
that under.
Yeah, I love hiking this time of year. You can see everything around you. You don't have to worry about bugs flying around and everything.
I am thankful for winter.
Yep.
I am not a big person.
How did that do it? So far, Daddy, I think I like it.
Yeah? I knew you would.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Oh, we're up to one of the first stops.
Now a little waterfall. Oh, yeah, I think we lost it. Oh, there right there.
Come on, let's catch up.
So I'm gonna switch that. So, and I heard a really cool bird. We always observe them in this valley. I thought I heard a pileated woodpecker when we first dropped in. So if you hear a maniacal laughter, I'm just gonna pull over and stop and check that out. So this is one of our favorite spots on this waterfall trail. We call this kind of the valley overlook informally. And this is a great time of year to be here because you can look down into this kind of quaint, quiet little valley here and look across. And especially when the leaves are off the trees, we can see a lot of trees from one spot right here. So what I want to kind of get our minds set to right now is I want to start thinking about what is winter like, and then how do trees deal with how winter is like? Okay, so what characterizes winter, the winter environment? What is winter like? What do you think?
Cold.
Right? Cold. I was hoping somebody would come right out with that. Winter is cold. Yes. What else is winter like? there's less sunlight available generally from 24 hours a day. There's less sunlight. Cold, dark, yes. Right. We see fewer plants leave, especially. Some plants completely die
Can you
back
answer?
and they're
Yeah,
totally
raise your
dead
hand
for
and
their
answer.
seeds to live the next generation. Some plants die back, but they're still alive underground, and some plants just lose their sensitive tissues. Very good. What else is winter like? Right, it's kind of quiet. There's not a lot of activity. I don't have it with me today. It's an emergency. I left my Carmex at home. Winter is windy, and winter is dry. So we tend to have dry skin and chapped lips. So winter is windy, it's dry, it's cold, and it's dark. This is a problem if you're a plant, especially a tree. So one of the biggest problems that trees face all year long is water loss. So think about these trees, and we're talking about deciduous trees, and we'll define that in a moment. Trees have leaves, right? Big green leaves. Trees need to breathe like we do, except for they breathe out oxygen and then they breathe in carbon dioxide. They turn that carbon into the mass of their tree trunk. That's all carbon. So when you talk about carbon sequestration, this is it. It's made out of carbon. So they need to open the holes on their leaves to breathe. If they do that during the day, they're also going to lose a bunch of water. So they time it to where they're only breathing at night to reduce water loss. So this is interesting. Of 100% of the water that a tree takes up through its roots, they lose 97% of it. It slips away, it's gone. They can only use 3% of that water that they drink up for their actual growth and metabolism. So it's a really big problem of water loss for trees. Now in the wintertime, water is frozen, so it's unavailable for uptake, and it's real dry and windy up here. So that's a significant risk for deciduous trees to lose water through their leaves. That's why they drop their leaves. So what is a deciduous tree? Kind of getting ahead of myself. What is deciduous? It is not an evergreen. The definition of a deciduous is that it is not an evergreen. They lose their leaves every year. So beautiful fall colors thanks to our deciduous trees. So deciduous trees have evolved a strategy. Think of it this way. They're growing and investing all of this energy into building this new tissue, these new big solar panels every spring. All the energy and sugar and stuff required to make these big leaves. They gobble up sunlight to make food, and then as soon as it gets tough, they cut and run. All that tissue, all that energy that went into that is done. That'd be like if we bought new solar panels, the newest, biggest, most impressive solar panels, put them on our roof in the spring, and then when fall comes, we say, get them off of there, rip them down, throw them away. We're gonna do it again next year. You'd have to get a lot of benefit from those solar panels for that brief window for the economics to make sense. So deciduous trees are kind of caught in this feast and famine situation. So when you see this tree right here, it is alive. It has dropped its leaves so that it doesn't lose water through its leaves, or so that its sensitive tissue doesn't become damaged. It's kind of dormant right now. This is why we plant trees in the fall, because they've gone dormant. They're not doing their thing. They're waiting for conditions to improve where they can continue to grow. We're going to talk about evergreen trees at our next stop. And as we walk along to our next stop, I want you to think about parts of the world where there are fewer deciduous trees and parts of the world where there are more evergreen trees, and vice versa as we pick along. So I'm talking about latitude, north and south on the globe. We didn't hear the pileated woodpecker. Are there any questions about trees or winter or comments?
You have any questions?
Pileated woodpecker is black and white with a red head, a red kind of crest, and they're big. They're about the size of a crow. It's the woody woodpecker. And they're really big and really
We have
cool.
some hikers coming
Yeah,
on
we're
the
gonna just
trail,
step.
so I want to
They look like
Oh, well, that's
they
right,
look
bud.
like they mean business.
There's other people walking.
Good morning.
How you doing?
We're doing lovely. How are you doing?
Good. Thank goodness it's cold and not all mucky. What
Mm-hmm.
do they do? Is this a park led?
Morning, morning.
Okay. Okay. Have fun.
Yeah, enjoy your hike.
Remember, if you have any questions, you can ask. That's what we're here for.
We'll let them get a little bit of space ahead of us. So what plants still have their leaves? Do we see any green leaves?
No.
There's some green grass. I noticed some green leaves when we were coming down, and there was a conversation about invasive plants earlier. When you see green leaves, especially right now, something that's just boldly photosynthesizing in the middle of December, odds are that's probably a non-native invasive plant, and that's why they outcompete, is they can just, they photosynthesize longer. They're the first ones to get green in the spring. They're the last ones to lose their leaves. They're just better at being plants because they evolved in places where it's really hard to be a plant. So, yep, so we've got green leaves, and what do we have here? This is a multiflora rose. Really bad invasive. There's honeysuckle, there's, yeah. Green is bad this time of year, I guess. Okay, let's keep shuffling on here to our next stop.
Multiflora rose. So, yeah, that one's pretty hard to remove. Super thorny, like
Trees still have their
bushes.
but they just haven't dropped.
Yeah.
What's what?
That one's a tough one. And their root system is like pretty hardy. And it's one of those things where like those birds love.
Little berries.
That one there with the red berries
Yeah.
is another invasive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Japanese barberry.
Non-edible, I assume.
Definitely not for humans.
Yeah.
Some birds will eat it, but it's not very nutritious. It's
Gotcha.
like if I were eating popcorn all day, it's
Like a
not.
waste, yeah.
Yeah.
How come birch holds onto its leaf so long?
They're just growing because that's what they need to do.
As far as I know, some trees it's more advantageous to hold on to them longer because it detracts from anything that might try to damage the new leaf buds. Or
Okay.
them.
Yeah. So like a little bit of protection.
Yeah, it's called marcescence when they're holding on to their leaves all winter.
Okay. So I feel like those are the ones you always notice, that kind of orangish crimson color in the distance.
Yeah.
They're pretty in the winter, but they're still there.
Yeah, and it's a great way to identify them as opposed to other trees.
Yeah, that's pretty much like the only one I can point out.
Yeah, it's a lot of detective work trying to figure out what a tree is in the winter.
It really is. In state parks, I always wonder this. If you're camping in state park, could you harvest and burn in a fire pit or no?
I don't know. So we're not associated with state parks at all.
Okay. So what's the difference between what's this park title?
So we're county parks.
A county. Okay, gotcha.
So the only people who are allowed to camp in the county parks are Boy Scout and Girl Scout troops.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have like very specific areas where they can't. No one else
Correct.
can camp in the county park.
Like with most things.
Generally, when it comes to
A lot of things.
firewood, though, like we don't let people harvest the firewood from our parks because you know, we don't want to remove something's habitat and
Correct,
need that
yeah.
to decompose. So I'm not exactly sure what the policy would be for state parks, but I know
Yeah.
that transporting between park to park is also bad because
Well, yeah,
there's
that
some
too.
insects that lay
Yeah,
there.
and I wasn't. Yeah, I'm not like saying like take home, but like I know like if you were I always because I've Googled, I can never find it. Like if you're at Raccoon and you just wanted to grab twigs or a clearly dead log and burn it for the night. I always just wondered that. We always pack our own, but
Yeah, I'm not
I've
sure.
always been curious about that.
That's one of those things where it's also like who's gonna stop you?
Exactly. As long as you're not, starting up a chainsaw at 3 in the morning.
Yeah. Then someone will stop you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's because I just want you to stay in front of me. That's all.
No, I was just telling you.
Right on the money.
Which one? This little one?
Yeah.
So this is some sort of a white oak, it looks like, or red oak. Sorry.
So some sort of oak tree. just a small little guy. They get pretty big. So if you look at the leaves, a lot of the leaves look all similar. A lot of oaks down here, right?
Yeah.
I see, 'cause the leaves are all pretty similar. And the
All
oaks
those-
have
all
the
those
similar
pointy
shape.
ones like that are red oaks.
Yeah.
And if they have the rounded edges, they're white oaks.
Kill the trees in the way like the MLS more than.
That was so quick.
So that'd be more of an oak.
Yeah.
And then
That one's a maple there.
more of a maple, yeah.
Yeah. So the maples are a little bit wider and shorter.
Yeah, they don't have as many points.
Yeah. These are taller and skinnier.
Gotcha. Pretty cool, huh, bud? Learning.
Need
Maple.
some leaf shapes.
This is what you put on your pancakes in the morning. Maple.
Yeah, not the leaves.
He was shocked to find out that his syrup in the morning came from trees. Yeah. Yeah, that was an eye opener for him. Yeah.
I mean, now that you said, I'm sure I would have been pretty surprised to find that out.
As a kid, yeah, like when he told me, I was like, I can't remember when I found out
I don't remember when I found
it
out.
came out from a tree. Yeah.
I certainly did not know it inherently, I'll tell you that.
No, oh no, I don't think anybody does. Hey, watch your step, one steps. Yeah, we were here. We weren't here. We were here right right before school started. We came down. Yeah.
No, that's a really good guess though. Pawpaws.
Me and my wife always say this is the kind of stuff they should still teach in school.
Pawpaws because they kind of hang down like that. But pawpaws they're deciduous. They've lost their leaves, and these plants still have their leaves.
Those are evergreens.
Ooh, sounds like a good segue into our next stop.
Did Ranger Olivia put you up to this?
Alright. So I think we've all noticed we're standing in an area with a little bit more green, and I heard you just say that they're evergreens. Anybody familiar with the trees that we're standing under? Raise some hands. Anybody feel confident enough to identify? You gonna go ahead? This one? This little one? Some sort of spruce? That's a good guess.
Guess fir. Say
Anyone
fir.
else want
Raise
to
your
take
hand.
a guess
Say
at
fir.
identifying? We'll go with the conifers first.
Oh, that was my guess.
A hemlock, yes.
Yeah.
So these are eastern hemlocks, which is the Pennsylvania state tree. I like to identify these if you can see their pine cones. They're the teeniest tiny little pine cones. They're like about an inch long. Yeah, if you look at the ground too, that's a good way to see if you're standing underneath an eastern hemlock. Anyone know what these other green trees are? So these are evergreens, and you're probably thinking, wait a second, they don't have needles as leaves. How is this an evergreen? So there are types of broad flat-leaved trees that are evergreens as well. Any guesses on what these might be? Mount Laurel, that's a good guess. Rhododendrons, exactly. So way back before we colonized Pennsylvania, a lot of our forests looked kind of like this. Our eastern hemlocks and our rhododendrons were a majority of Pennsylvania forests, which is really awesome that we get to experience this here. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So we're going to touch a little bit about evergreen trees. So what are some characteristics you all think of when you think of evergreens? A Christmas tree. Anybody got theirs in their home yet? Awesome. So what about Christmas trees? They smell good? Maybe they're the types of leaves that they have. So when I think of evergreens, I think of probably a tree with leaves that are needles. That hurt, yeah, they're a little pokey. Anything else that you think of? Sappy? That they're green all year long, and that they don't drop their needles once a year. So evergreen trees have kind of an adaptation in order to make sure that they're not losing all of that water, like Ranger Max was saying about deciduous trees. So they actually have a waxy layer on the outside of their leaves called a cuticle. This helps them retain the water in their leaves, so during the winter time they're not having that 90% water loss through their leaves. So if they're able to take up some water that is not frozen in the winter, they're not automatically losing the majority of it, which is super beneficial. So you're probably standing here and you're looking around and you're like, Ranger Olivia, I see needles on the ground. Like, you just told me that they don't drop their leaves once a year. When are they dropping them? So evergreen trees drop their, you have a guess?
They drop them like a little bit at a time.
Yeah, a little bit at a time.
They don't drop them all at once,
Like all the other deciduous trees. Yeah, exactly. So they're continuously losing their trees. It doesn't happen all at once. And why do you think this is beneficial? Anyone want to guess that? That's a little bit more of a conceptual question.
How do
I don't know, you can still replenish your leaves while still making food and surviving. at the
Yeah,
same time.
exactly. If we think about it in the way that Ranger Max talked about the solar panels, so in this instance, these trees put up their solar panels all at the same time, but instead of ripping them down and putting new ones up every year, you're maybe replacing a few every once in a while. So eventually this becomes more cost effective. You get your returns back on that investment, and it's economically more better. Do you have a question? Blue Christmas trees?
Blue spruce.
Blue spruces? That, I think the underside of their needles are like a light silvery. Is that the one that you're? Is that the one
I
that
think
you're
so,
thinking
yeah.
of? Lows, yeah. They're in,
Those are
nice.
the ones that hurt you when you grab
Yeah,
them.
they're the pokey ones. Now I kind of want to have a blue spruce as my Christmas tree. That's a great idea. So yeah, evergreens have found solutions in order for them to retain water, effectively make leaves that are a little bit beneficial for them as trees. And like Ranger Max was saying, kind of thinking about where they grow. So they're going to be growing a little bit north in latitude, maybe higher in elevation, where those deciduous trees aren't going to be. So, this is a better place for them to outcompete other trees. But as everything in nature, there's always a positive and negative. Can anybody think why it's like a little bit of a negative side to have needles as leaves instead of wide, flat leaves? What do you think?
So it's easier to get energy with flat leaves.
Yeah.
And also, it's like animals live in trees with like a flat one would be like 3 different places. It won't hurt them, but like that.
Yeah.
It would hurt.
That's a good point. I like that, thinking of animal habitats too. Yeah, so say this is the surface area of a broad flat leaf, and this is the surface area of a needle. This one's seeing more sun hitting it, so it's going to photosynthesize more than the needle, for instance. So
But there's more needles on the tree.
good point, exactly. So, and they're also photosynthesizing all of the time. So there's a pro and con to all types of things that happen in nature. Yeah, anything else you want to add about evergreens?
I like to think about those solar panels are real small and real weak, but after a decade you break even, and if all you got is little small weak sunlight and you build these little small weak solar panels, eventually the cost curve works in your favor. Have you seen like Planet Earth, and they're like up on the taiga, like the last northern tree? There's like a little tree that's like that tall and it's like 100 years old. Deciduous tree couldn't colonize a place with so little sunlight. So it's mind-boggling to think that deciduous trees just waste all that, and that it still benefits them in the long run, that they dump all that energy into that. It's like, this seems much much better. But gas exchange is really hard when you got that cuticle. You're just restricted in a lot of different ways.
When the leaves break down, they kind of fertilize themselves, like eating themselves in a way.
Yeah, there's whole other knock-on effects. Yeah, when the whole ecosystem, pine needles break down and they're acidic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so soil effects. Yeah, trees are really important.
Anybody know of any other broad, flat-leaved evergreen trees? You mentioned it earlier.
Ooh, that's a good bar trivia question.
American holly, something we use often in our holiday decorations, is also one native to our area.
Isn't it like, it's
holly has males and female trees, and so I think only the males get berries. I don't know about other color berries. Gardeners are clever. They like to crossbreed and
They have those waxy leaves like you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, feel free to touch some of the rhododendron leaves while we walk by. You can actually feel that like layer of wax, the cuticle on them. Really pretty flowers in the springtime too. Just so you know.
there's like viburnums, which are like landscape shrubs. They're kind of fuzzy, leathery leaves, you know. So a lot of that stuff is choice for like landscaping. People don't want their landscaping to be bare, so landscapers will value things that have leaves in the winter.
Yeah, you stand here and look around, yeah.
You see them? Pretty teeny tiny.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple different types of these.
Are all the hemlocks that small with the acorns?
So it's actually
Like all species of
Yeah, they're
hemlock?
all less than, I think less than an inch. They're all this big, and they all are at the very end of the branch.
so if you see like a pine tree or a spruce tree.
You found one smaller than this? That's cool.
I got a pretty small one right here as well.
I don't know if there's a type
There you
of
go.
conifer.
Nice. Look at that. Put it in your pocket.
It has seeds inside of it too.
Yeah.
Just don't forget about it, or you'll have a hemlock tree in your pocket later.
We'll just plant your whole jacket when we get home.
Any questions about evergreen and hemlock?
Well, how else is the tree going to stay warm in the winter?
Exactly. It makes total sense.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
it's really easy to say pine cone when we're talking about all conifer cones because that's like the first thing that comes to mind. But pines are a specific type of conifer, so these are hemlock cones since they're not pines. But yeah,
And everybody knows what we mean.
yeah, I do it all the time still. So, all right, any questions, comments, concerns?
So I heard some you both remarked you've been here in the past, the old waterfall trail, and you're like scooting on your butt. Yeah, so now you know we come down to here and we have some options. We can go this way, which we're not going to do today. There's a new bridge that crosses the stream just above the waterfall, and then it loops you around. You can see a structure across there. That's the other end of the green loop. Also, we could go down here. We're going to go down here to visit the waterfall. And going this way is the other. So this is the green lollipop. This is the stick, and then this long skinny loop down the valley here. Again, come back and do that full green loop. It's really
Yeah, we'll have to do that one day, buddy. We'll have to go the other way, not to get the bridge up.
We've been doing a lot of restoration planting. This is kind of a
What's a big
sensitive
loop?
area that
Circle.
I'm sure you all observed previously was really trampled by footfalls. And so we try to define the trail user experience here, let people know, hey, go here, maybe don't go that way. And so we see people with like strollers down here now, which is,
What do you think this guy is?
you know, if you're coming back here because it's your secret spot, that's not such a cool thing anymore.
Well, it's a little bit
people are
different
like,
than
we're
the
trying to see the waterfall, then
the
they get all
hemlock. These needles are a little bit longer, huh?
So we try to make this a little
Yeah.
bit more accessible to
What tree do you think that came from?
community in a sustainable way, hence the split roof.
Yeah. I don't see one with the long needles around us though.
This is probably the
Must have
most
blew over.
treacherous section of our trail here. We're going to go down.
Yep.
There's some
We got
mud,
some hikers coming.
some
This way, buddy.
steep steps.
Tanner, this way.
And we'll let these folks
Over here.
sneak through. But
How you doing today?
I'm not sure what kind this is.
Keep dog.
It looks like some sort of pine or hemlock.
It's almost 12.
But this is nice and long. These needles are really long. I don't know what kind of tree that came from. You can ask.
right there.
So these came from some
Okay,
sort
so
of a
we'll
pine
slowly
tree.
just fall in line behind these folks. We have time to go down and
I don't know if it's a white pine or a different type of pine.
Yeah. I didn't see one above us with the long needles.
Something that lightweight could have blown from.
That's why that's what I was telling him. Blew in from somewhere.
I don't see any of them around here actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I have to see what I
So
can
it
Google
does.
what kind of tree that is.
So it's a type of conifer that loses.
You gonna put that in your pocket too? Go Go
so
for
it's probably
Load that
an
pocket
eastern
up, boy.
larch, or tamarack is another name for it. It's one of our conifers that is a deciduous tree that
You got it? You smell?
So we have somebody.
You get it? You got it? All right, come on, down the steps.
Somebody called a larch, but this tree looks different than what that person
Take your
called.
time,
So there are different types of larches, to my knowledge.
and then notice where the edge is, and you stay away from the edge. Okay? Take your time. We're in no rush. Sideways. There you go. Good boy. See? You're learning. You're learning. That way, if you fall where? Backwards on your tuchus. Huh? Good. It's very muddy. So I got our boots on.
Oh. No, this is where we do not want.
Yep, just take your time.
If you're interested to get a closer look at the waterfall, I think we can take 5 or so minutes. You know, you can go up, take a close look, take a picture up there. And so you can take the time to do that. I'm not going to like lead everybody in there. It's kind of tight in there.
Tanner.
You're all welcome to. And then after you check that, I would just meet back here, and then we'll finish the loop and head up.
Ah, gotcha. Whoa.
We're just taking about 5 minutes if you want to scope out
Perfect.
the waterfall, and we'll meet back here.
Plant, animals, dogs.
Dive on in.
But it's pretty okay about
Hey,
Yeah,
where we at?
spot where we knew we had to give people a way to get down to the waterfall.
How pretty is this, huh? Is this awesome?
There's some artifacts in here.
You have some artifacts in here? What do you got in your pocket? Pine cone and pine needles, huh? Are we learning some things?
I go,
Let's go check out that waterfall, huh? Let's do it.
I go keep these things till we get home.
Yeah, take them home, of course.
And can I put them on my artifacts?
You know, watch this edge, though.
Can I put them on the artifacts though?
You can put the pine cone up there, sure.
And then
And the leaves, yes.
needle?
Of course. Of course.
Too,
Come on.
if the pine
Watch out.
I only
Go up to the right here.
get 8.
Go up to the right. Up to the right. There you go. How you guys doing?
Doing well, how you doing?
Good. He's enjoying his day, huh? Tanner, this way. Tanner. Come over this way.
You want to take some pictures? Have our You can take some pictures?
What?
You want to take some pictures?
Yeah, we will. We're gonna wait our turn. Everybody else is gonna take some pictures. We're gonna wait our turn. This is where we came and played last year. Remember? You and Abel went all through there and played. The water was a little bit deeper then.
last time we were here, they were up on there. They don't understand that it's a different.
There's a place to get warmed up, loosened up before we get jumping.
No. 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 I gotta throw a rock, dude. We're here with a bunch of people. Do you need some water, buddy?
Do you want to take some pictures?
Yes. Do you need some water? Come on, come this way. Follow me. Go this way. Yeah, go stand down there. I'll take your picture. You ready? Awesome. Oh, I know. I've seen that. Careful getting down.
Hey, the other day the sign was up. Hey, now it's not.
Yeah, see the waterfall before?
Yeah, we've done this trail over the summer.
Oh, good.
And we hike up Raccoon a lot too.
I still haven't made my way out to Raccoon yet. It's been on my list for so long.
They have a really nice waterfall loop too. It's about a mile circle loop.
Okay.
And depending on when you go, the water's going pretty good, or sometimes just a trickle.
How much size-wise, how does it compare to this one?
It's much bigger.
Oh, okay.
It's I would say, and it's got a, so when you walk up to it, it's got a like a cavern like that, but it's definitely bigger and wider. The waterfall is probably maybe like 15 feet above it or so.
Oh wow.
But the water's not always like churning. This one's much more consistent. But if you go in the winter at the right time, it's just, you know, the giant ice was pretty cool. Yeah, it's a neat little place.
Old site of what looks like an old home, a farmstead. And then we're going to turn around and then we're going to walk back on this trail up here. If you need a helping hand on the stepping stones, please just let one of us know.
Stretchy.
Alright, yep, let's go. It's still alive, that's why it's stretchy. Or bendy. Okay.
Who can make a hole like that? Who can make a hole like that?
I don't know, that's the roots coming up.
I like the idea of getting onto the everything, but my passion is insects and trying to photograph them is...
Take your time, buddy.
Every time I feel like I'm getting the perfect shot, it's fly away.
Nice job, buddy.
First time to do that is on a cold day. One fly I saw a couple weeks ago.
Hey, we walked this way last time too, huh?
Oh yeah!
We're following the same trail.
We're following all the same trails.
Mm-hmm. We knew what we were doing, huh? Careful going over the rocks again.
Careful going over.
Come here.
I got it.
I know, I just don't want you. If you got wet here, that would suck, huh? That's all.
So if there's a sign there, if we turn left, right, past the stepping stones, that would be part of the green loop again. I'm pointing it out because I love the green loop. Come do the green loop. What we've noticed, and we don't have any historical records to confirm this. This is just
And we're
all of our
about
parks
15
are
yards in
either
front of it.
mines or farmland or both.
It's a
for
cool
their
little place.
kind of park.
And they got
Here
a
you
big
see a
stone
couple
to the
of
right
like
with
this
the
big
water coming
square
through
depression in
the walls of the
ground
rock with
We see
the
carcass of a
zoning on the
oak
word
tree
here.
back here
Just the
that
big
looks
digger
like
dug in the rock was bringing
significantly larger and
erosion. There you
older
go.
than any other tree
it's a
in
neat
this
little trail.
valley. And then we see the remains of an old rusted out truck or car and some stacked stones. So usually when we see this stuff, we think, hey, this was either a house or a barn. And I like to think that there was a little
that live together.
house or a barn
So
or
this is
something
part
down here,
algae
and that
part
tree
mold,
was the only
and they come together to
tree
form this lichen.
in this entire valley. And that's typically the case when we see
That's pretty
historical
neat.
photos.
Almost looks like
100
coral.
years ago, you know, none of these trees around us are older than 60 or 70 years. So that may have been the only tree in this valley, planted right next to the house or the barn. So no, it's dead right now, but it might have been 250 years old when it died. It's hard to tell, but it's very big. Yeah. And you know, it feels like we feel like we're deep in the woods, but really, if you look around, these trees are this is successional forest. You know, there was a time in most of our lifetimes when this was pretty much a barren landscape. So we're in the midst of a kind of a successionary forest growth, lots of young trees. There's a cool geocache back here if you're into that kind of thing. Not for today.
Yeah. Can you tell us exactly where it is, though?
I love geodes.
Not geodes, geocache. That's when we go. I know, we've been doing a lot of research on that stuff. Trying to find places around us to go to find them.
If you go to Barnes & Noble, there's a book, I forget the exact title, but it's a list of locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey to go rock hounding. And
Oh, really?
rocks.
I have to go check that out, Tanner. Yeah, we've been doing all that stuff trying to figure out.
I've only gone to one of the
You could
locations.
dig into
Did you have
rocks
luck?
and you
Yeah,
find
that's
gems in
Oh,
them.
wow.
You remember? The
Yeah,
geodes
exactly.
you were talking about? And you could also find bones and gems.
Yes, Fossil Cliffs down in by our house. Supposedly supposed to have that kind of stuff too.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's called Fossil Cliffs, and it's a trail I can't remember the little town it's in, but it's off of the Montour Bike Trail.
Okay. Yeah, the place that I went to find these fossils, it was like by this dam, and it was like probably like 2 hours north of the city.
Okay, yeah.
So I went on a little day trip with a friend, and we found just a ton of these fossilized shells.
That's awesome.
And supposedly, and I didn't see any, and apparently they're very rare, but supposedly this area also has fossilized horseshoe crabs.
Oh, wow.
Which, yeah,
that would have been awesome, yeah.
That would have been incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've been picked clean or if it's just much harder to find and even identify what that looks like. But
yeah.
I think that'd be
that would be amazing. You know, we watch a lot of videos of these guys like in Alabama and stuff, and every rock they pick up is just like a giant crystal inside.
Yeah, I've seen those videos.
It's unreal.
Do you know about that like public diamond mine in Arkansas?
Is that the big mining extraction? Is it public? Or you have to pay to get in?
I think you have to pay to get in, but it's the only like one that the general public can like actually go to and look for diamonds themselves.
Oh, watch where you're walking, buddy. Yeah, that would be awesome. So watch where you're walking here, buddy. Yeah, it's a little sketchy. You still warm enough up there? Yeah, good. All right, good. I'll get you water.
Thirsty? It's a little sweet. Thirsty, it's a little
Here.
sweet.
It's nice and cold. Going back of the steps.
It's killing her not to jump on you guys.
So excited, huh? So excited.
Beautiful dog.
I'm the last one.
You good? Done? There you go.
I got it. How did I not need that much water?
Who knows? It's a little cold. Kind of helps, I feel. Not overheating.
I am hungry.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, we're getting pizza and we're going at home.
Is that what you want to take home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pizza.
That's what we'll do then.
Yeah, so they have rangers that work for the actually, is Raccoon?
Yeah, it is. It's like 5 minutes from like the airport.
Yeah, I mean it's not very far from here at all, but I can never remember if it's like right over the Allegheny County border or not. Yeah.
Parts of it might stretch out because they have different parts there. They actually have like a hidden cemetery on their land.
Oh yeah.
But it's outside of all the trails and camping.
Huh. They seem to have a lot of great hikes there. To check out.
I love Raccoon.
Yeah.
We live very close there too, so we go there a ton.
Yeah, I was there in the fall, and I do remember seeing that like the rangers there do like education walks as well. Okay. Which is a beautiful park to go on a guided hike. So, definitely another excellent resource. Yeah, they're in it. That's Washington County. I've never been, but I've heard.
Ooh. Oh, there's a bird's nest.
Sure.
Do you know why some trees are bent?
One of our ranger colleagues
Like
that works
this
in the
one?
North region is
Or like bent much more.
Like that one down there.
So some of them that are bent just a little bit, they have different patterns of growing where they curve a little bit more as they grow. Some that are bent a lot, when they were much younger saplings, something might have been on them that caused them to grow that way. So if you imagine a tree dies and falls on top of a little tree and it bends it like this, the tree can't really grow straight through that, so it has to bend around it. And once it gets around it, it still wants to grow straight up, so it's going to curve right back and go up.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
You want to see the little nest that they pointed out? Right here, that little guy. Right back here. See that little nest back here?
Yeah.
Little bird's nest. That's pretty cool, huh?
Oh, yeah.
We have a beautiful lake that you can walk around.
Moraine? You can rent boats up there too. We rented a pontoon one year with the family.
Oh, you did?
So you can rent a pontoon and go on the lake for the day? Yeah.
My dad probably knows a little bit of nature because we have a nature book all about the nature.
We do.
About what?
Nature.
Oh, cool.
He asked so many questions, so I'm a teacher, so one day at school I printed out like this giant PDF and spent the day gluing and stapling it together. Just so when we're out we can start trying to identify trees and plants and stuff.
What's your favorite part about nature?
Probably the new fence we see.
All the new stuff you find.
Sweet. I like all the creepy bugs and insects. They're my favorite.
How about you, like the bugs and insects?
My favorite bug is blackwood.
Blackwood is your favorite?
They're pretty cool spiders.
Because I like nature.
Yeah.
I love monsters.
I like assassin bugs a lot. Do you know about them at all?
Those are invasive, right? Are they new or a breed of them? No?
There might be an invasive species. I don't know about it.
Okay.
Assassin bugs kind of look like if you took a stink bug and you made it longer, and they have a mouth part that looks like a syringe, and they stab it into the prey, and they inject a bunch of digestive juices, and then they suck out the inside. It's like a weird smoothie.
It's like a built-in straw. Yeah, we saw one at our school the other day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty neat.
They have species of those that are actually
yeah,
deadly
yeah.
to us too, right?
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you about that.
Yeah.
I just read about new countries in school. Christmas word is from different countries.
Hannah, back here.
All right, everyone. So we spent a lot of time learning about how trees are adapting to winter, some of the different broader classifications of trees, but now I kind of want to get into the meat and potatoes of how we figure out what tree we're looking at. I mean, a lot of times when it's nice and warm out in the spring and summer and early fall, you can just take a look at all the leaves on the trees, and it's a lot easier to identify them. But you get to this time of year and I'm looking around, I'm not seeing a ton of leaves. All of my tips and tricks that I've learned from the rest of the year are kind of, thrown out the door. I don't know how to identify these trees. What are some ways that you think you might be able to identify a tree without using its leaves? Yeah.
Like the pattern on it, like I know like some trees have like spikes on it or like different patterns on it, like that one over there. It has like that kind of down like kind of bark pattern.
Yeah, absolutely. So the patterns on the bark, sometimes they have spikes. What do you think?
I think another way to identify a tree might be like the way its branches grow.
Absolutely, the way its branches grow. Any other guesses?
Color.
Color, yeah.
It's like the colors of the tree looks a little bit different because that one's silver and that one's whiter.
Absolutely, yeah. The different colors make the trees look different. So there are a lot of different ways in order to figure it out. And it's a little bit more like detective work when you get to this part of the year. You have to look really closely and compare a lot of different characteristics in order to figure it out. Some of them are a little bit unique to each tree. I like to look and see if it has any unique characteristics first. So one of the ones that always comes to mind for me is the black locust tree. It has these big thorns. So I don't see any trees with thorns around here, so I can kind of immediately in my mind rule out the black locust as a possibility for a tree. And there are other trees that have unique characteristics like that, where if I kind of go on the checklist really quickly of what I think or what it doesn't have, I can eliminate a few pretty obvious trees. But then you get to a bunch of trees like that one right there and this one right here, where there's not a ton that's unique about them. There's definitely some distinct differences. One of them's lighter, the bark looks a little different, but there's no unique thorns or fungus growing on the tree. They don't have any like weird smells like some trees do. So it's a little bit harder to determine what they are. So at the bigger picture level, bark is a great way to determine the differences in trees. So they have different patterns on the bark. Some of them have deeper furrows and grooves in the bark, and you can tell based on those deeper furrows what that tree is. Some of them are very smooth, some of them have very papery bark, and the method that we use, once we have the information about what kind of bark it is, we use a dichotomous key to compare the information that we have on the tree to the information in the key to figure out what the tree is. Has anyone ever heard of or used a dichotomous key before? No? We have some hikers coming through, so if you don't want to
Stay right there, buddy.
move off.
See one.
Mona, out of the way. Morning.
Morning.
Hello.
We always saw you guys. So we don't really see one. We had my favorite. Good morning.
So I have some dichotomous keys with me that I want to pass out. And as I'm talking about some ways to identify trees, feel free to look through this. We're going to have a chance a little bit later to try to identify some trees ourselves, but I want to give it to you now so you can familiarize yourself. We've got a couple of different types here. And they all work pretty similarly. So I'll just hand them out.
A dichotomous key.
If we could use like one family unit, or if we've got a large family unit, I'll hand out two per family unit.
So there are different types of dichotomous keys. So I know Penn State, they offer some free downloadable, printable things.
Yeah, that's fine.
They're pretty.
Might be a little hard to use, but
They're pretty intuitive. Peterson Field Guides, the plant ones, the tree ones, actually have a dichotomous key integrated into them. And then I'm not sure which this one is.
These for us to keep?
no, this is just for doing the hike.
Firing.
We'll share this one,
Does
buddy.
anyone with a larger family unit want to use another key at all? We've got a
You want
couple
another
extras.
one?
Winter tree finder. We gotta get one of these.
There you go.
Another trail user coming through over there.
The Penn State one's pretty good. I printed that off this year and just stapled it into a notebook for me and him.
Yeah, we have. Those are nice too because sometimes they come with like activities.
Yeah.
So you can like.
Penn State's great with all the free materials. It's unreal.
What a nice group hiking! We never see people out here.
Hello.
So I'm going to bring an example around of a unique kind of bark that we have that's one of the trees you can identify. This is from a black cherry tree.
Black cherry tree.
Get down, please. I don't want you to fall.
Black cherry tree. Can you find it?
Can I find it in here? Let's see if there's an index.
Yeah, I might have got a little too cold.
Is anybody familiar with the black cherry tree? Page 17.
17, okay.
Page 20. Page 23.
That one's not as distinct.
All right, scratch that. Yeah, it was 90% when we left, and it's not like the cold very much. But an example of a tree that has a very unique type of bark is the black cherry tree. If we see one, I or one of the other rangers can point it out.
We've got some close to
Oh,
us.
all right.
Yeah.
Plain sight.
It's not as distinct as the bark.
So the bark of this tree, the way that it flakes off, it kind of looks a little bit like a burnt potato chip, is how we like to think about it. But if you see this tree that has this sort of bark, a little bit loose and flaky, Ranger Olivia pointed out to me earlier that the trees kind of grow not perfectly straight, they're a little wiggly.
So yeah, they almost look like they were spiraling. They've got like this really distinct, they look wavy, but the way that the
That's
tree
what I
is
said
growing,
to
it
him.
almost does this like spiral-esque thing. Ranger Max actually told me this earlier this season, that's why you can never get a large piece of cherry wood because they're never straight trees. I think, yeah, you can kind of see it on this one right here. As you look up further, it's doing that like wavy back and forth thing towards the top. So you're never going to get
cherry.
like 10 feet of cherry tree that is straight. And if you do, you probably sell it for a decent amount of
Yeah.
money. If you
Nice coffee
sell
table.
it, so.
There's other trees with unique bark. Have any of you heard of shagbark hickory before?
Yeah.
Yeah, shagbark hickory has very peely bark. It hangs off
That's
much
good.
further than this.
Someone's coming with the dog.
It looks like you could just peel off a full strip of it. So a quick we got another trail user here.
No worries.
Very excitable.
Look at that dent that big.
Come on.
You get that stick.
Yeah.
That looks like a handful. Enjoy your walk.
Who can make that big of a dent?
So those are some of the more unique types of bark. Using
make
a
it big as
dichotomous
that
key
then.
is also helpful. They make
Just
some
the way it
specifically
grew, buddy. That
for
just looks like a
tree
knot in the
bark.
tree.
The ones we have here are useful for the branches. Where did that branch go?
On your bag there. I got 2 of them for you.
So some of these trees that are a little bit higher up with the branching, it might be a little difficult to use. But if you have a lower growing tree, you can take a look at the branches. And the dichotomous keys that I passed out are really useful for these branches. They have some terminology in them that I want to go over a little bit. So if you look at the ends of the branch, and I'm going to bring this around for you to see, you can see that it has tiny little buds.
Stand up, bud.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Spring's coming.
Pretty cool, huh, buddy?
Really is
Like
detective
little
work.
black
You gotta get in close.
Yeah. A little buzz on the top.
So it's very easy to overlook a little tiny bud like that if you're walking around and you're even looking at this tree here. I can't really see it very clearly, but if you have a branch like this, you look really close and you can see the buds. When you're using the dichotomous key, it's going to talk about how long the buds are, if they're clustered in multiple groups or if it's just one bud. There's a little modified leaf that can cover the bud to protect it as well. So looking at these really tiny details is what we can use to identify different trees. We have the terminal bud, which is going to be the bud that's at the very top of the branch, and then we have lateral buds that are on the sides. The orientation of where those lateral buds are is also really useful in determining a tree. If they're opposite from each other, or if they're kind of alternating back and forth along the branch, that can tell us if it's one of a few distinct trees or if it's in a broader class. The ones that are opposite from each other, we have a mnemonic device we use to remember that. It's Mad Horse. Mad Horse stands for maple, ash, dogwood, and horse chestnut. All 4 of those trees have opposite branching, or just opposite branches and opposite branching leaves as well. There's also another one, honeysuckle. It's not a tree, but it has opposite branches. So if you're ever looking at something, make sure that it is a tree. Otherwise, the opposite branches could trip you up. But Mad Horse is that acronym we use for opposite branching. And it should say that in the dichotomous keys as well, pretty early on. I think it's one of the first steps you're looking for is it opposite branching. If you're looking at something like this, it has these opposite branches here. But if it didn't, it might be a little bit more difficult to figure that out. So you can look at the buds, and you can also look at what's called a leaf scar. So there are a few leaf scars on here.
Ranger Matthew, what is a leaf scar?
So a leaf scar is an area where a leaf previously was and it fell off. It leaves a little bit of a mark on the branch. And there's different little tiny holes in there where the leaf was supplied with water and nutrients in order to keep working and grow. And depending on the size and the shape and the orientation of them, it allows you to figure out what the tree is as well. I know walnut trees, the leaf scar that they leave behind looks a little bit like a monkey's face. I think in some of the keys it might have a picture of that. Does it have a picture in that one? Do you mind if I bring that around for...
No, yeah, because it's in there on our
If anyone else finds it quicker.
I think I never found it.
Did you find it? Not quite that one. Oh, here it is. So I'll bring this around for anyone who doesn't have this key. That leaf scar right there looks a little bit like a monkey's face. Use your imagination a little bit, but... In real life, it looks more so like that, yeah.
What the?
A little bit heart-like. There's some that look even more distinctly heart-like than this.
Thank you.
Pretty cool, huh, bud? We're gonna have to find one of these little books, buddy. These are neat.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
What do you think, Tanner? Tanner, think we should get
So
one of these?
understanding the different parts of
Yeah,
the
so we can learn
branch
about
and how
learn
they
these
relate to
trees.
the dichotomous key is important. A lot of the details you're looking for on these branches and on these trees are very, very small. Sometimes people will go out with little hand lenses in order to see them. I know when I tried doing this in the past, sometimes I'll know what a tree is from the bark, and I'll try to use the dichotomous key anyway just to confirm that. And what I know I need to find is sometimes really difficult to look for, even if I know what it is. So it's a very difficult thing. It takes a lot of practice. And they make a lot of really good dichotomous keys out there. These are some of the more basic ones here. But they have some really in-depth ones for very specific attributes like bark or leaf shape when it's for summer or spring. The next stop that we're going to be going on to, we're going to be using those dichotomous keys, and we can try to spread out and identify some of the trees that we have here, and you can ask any of the park rangers if you need help. And I'll go over how to use this dichotomous key in a little bit more detail there. But are there any questions about other methods you can use to identify trees other than leaves before we move on?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if it's not opposite, what is the other alternative?
So if it's not opposite like this, it'll be alternating. It'll be alternating. You can see it here. One's on the right, one's on the left, but they're not opposing each other. There's another type called whorled, where it looks a little bit like they're opposite, but there's a cluster of them all around one thing that kind of spin around it. Those are there's not as common. We have the catalpa tree around here has whorled leaves. Sometimes alternating ones can look a little bit like they're whorled, so it helps to take a look at a branch in multiple areas to distinguish it. I know if I'm looking straight up right here and I'm trying to figure out if something is opposite or alternate, it can be a little bit difficult. So looking in multiple areas will confirm exactly what I'm trying to find as well. Good question.
The getting into these microscopic details in this dichotomous key, this is here if you need it. I like to deal with like windshield ID. Like you're flying down the road and you're like, oh, what was that? And you catch something like the burnt potato chip bark, and you're like, yep, I know that was a cherry tree. You know, if you look down through the valley, you can start to pick out black cherries that are 100 yards away just on that one thing that Ranger Matthew pointed out. Same thing with the opposite branching. You know, if you're on a hike and somebody's like, hey, do you know what kind of tree this is? This right here? No, I don't, but once you see opposite, now you know you've got it narrowed down to 4. Maple, ash, dogwood, horse chestnut, or buckeye. So based on that, you can get real close, real fast with a knowing almost nothing. So, and you can look really smart too. So that's why we gave you binoculars. If you look up in the tree canopy,
Look up, buddy.
find
Use your
any
binoculars.
branch and try to identify the opposite or alternate. If it's alternate, sorry, it's all the other types of trees besides those 4. But if it's opposite, you just basically skipped ahead to the front of the process there. Dichotomous key is like a choose your own adventure book.
Oh.
If this, turn to page 9. If that.
Not page 9. Page 9. Page 9.
Is that a disease or is that part of a...
Probably a bunch of insects ate a lot of the inside. Sometimes the baby insects will eat different layers of the tree, and that's how they grow up. And once they've eaten most of that, then they emerge through little holes in the bark, and then they fly off somewhere else.
We did see the emerald ash borer. We talked about the galleries.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of those in trees, huh, buddy?
Yeah.
And those are only in ash trees?
The emerald ash borer, yeah.
Yeah.
There are galleries in other trees.
Yeah.
But different species will make differently shaped galleries. I don't know how to distinguish.
Yeah,
them,
okay.
But because the emerald ash borer was so recent, like anything that's down next to the trail that has those galleries were like, that's gotta be an ash
The
tree.
go-to,
Yeah.
gotcha, okay.
It decimated like 30 to 35% of our canopies.
Oh, wow.
But what happens if some leaves are silver looking?
Silver looking? Like right now or when they're growing and...
Look, right there.
So that one looks like it was probably covered in mud, a little sun damage. But after, like, these leaves were all like orange and yellow and red when they first fell. But yeah, you can still see, you know, winter is pretty cool because there are other things to look at that aren't just green leaves and flowers. I like, again, like this is a type of seed.
Whoa.
Those get stuck to your clothes.
Yeah, this is the thing that gets stuck to your clothes.
All right, we finished up our hike. What'd you think?
I liked it really much.
I hope you guys enjoyed
Wait,
watching
did
this
you-
video
Wait, did you make the video while
the whole time we were walking. I know, so tell them to like and subscribe.
like and subscribe?
Follow along to the videos.